All right, so there it is. That is the first official trailer for PUBG's next map, Taego, codenamed Tiger. And this is really exciting for PUBG and for us PUBG players out there because this is going to be an 8x8 map and feature a new respawn mechanic that's only going to be on this map. And while this trailer was fairly short, for the rest of this video, I'm going to be breaking down what I saw in the trailer, what I saw kind of zooming into the map. I'm going to show you guys some of the things that I noticed. And really, every time I look at this trailer and look at the footage, I kind of start to notice more and more things. So I'm sure there's going to be some stuff that I miss. And if you guys notice anything cool that I missed or have any interesting theories or conspiracy theories about the map, please drop them down in the comments below. And really, this seems to be part of PUBG's initiative of getting back to the basics with PUBG Reborn, and PUBG back to the big map. So this is a really exciting time for the game, and I'm really excited for this to launch. So one of the first things we're going to see here as we play through the trailer is when we go from this view, right? As I fast forward here, we're seeing the plane go across the map. It goes from what you would see in-game. I think this is footage of the map in-game if you were to look at the menu screen or the map screen, and then it zooms out to just an image of the map. And this is kind of low quality, so it's hard to see, but this is kind of a better visual of the entire map. What's interesting, when you zoom back in, you can see more details. And before we talk about the whole map in itself and everything, one of the things I noticed is when you zoom in, you can see a detail like this bridge seems to be open or broken. I'm really hoping that this bridge will open up at a certain point in the game, or maybe there's something the players can be involved with that. And then when you zoom out, the bridge does seem to be closed. But again, it's kind of hard to say because this is a low quality image here, but there does seem to be something interesting going on that side of the map. There's a base here. I don't know if this is a power station or a dam or just a big compound here, but it kind of seems to be split in left and right. There seems to be some structures that are jutting out, maybe a pier. And then these seem to be two boats, because when you zoom in, it almost looks like you can land on these things. There might be some loot. This is sort of like what the boats look like on Erangel on the map. So those are just some of the things I'm noticing. One more thing before we get into the map is check this out. I was really hoping for on the next map that they would include some water that goes to the middle of the map so you can get to point A to point B or into the zone via boat, because that's something we don't really see a lot in PUBG. So in the initial image here, you're going to see that the water is cutting through half the map, which is really cool. And this is probably the biggest cut through. I would say that this is a bigger island than the military island on Erangel, so this is pretty cool. And then the water kind of juts in there just a little bit. But when you zoom in, check this out. The water actually goes much further than I thought. It just seems to be much more narrow here, maybe more shallow. But I'm really hoping that we're going to be able to drive a boat from potentially, up the river there, up by the ocean, all the way into the map down to here. So who knows? This might not end up being something that's actually useful in game, but I would really love to see that kind of dynamic in PUBG in this map, or maybe even in a future map. So that's some of the things I noticed. So let's zoom out and let's talk about the map as a whole. So definitely getting some Erangel vibes right off the bat. A little bit of Sanhok vibes because some of the grass seems to be a little bit darker, and this map is going to be in Korea. So we might see some of those kind of Southeast Asian vibes on the map. So I think it's going to be kind of a balance between those two, which is pretty cool. And some of the first things you notice when you look at the map is the biggest city seems to be on the island to the north. And again, it's hard to say the size of this thing, but it looks like it might be the biggest island in the game. The prison island on Miramar is pretty big, but it's more elongated on the south side of the map. And then the military base is fairly large, but this seems to be a bigger island, bigger proportionally. I guess you could go in and measure the kilometers, but just from initially looking at it, this does seem to be a little bit bigger. There's a lot of water on the outside of the map, but really most of the original maps are all islands. So there really is a lot of water, but there definitely seems to be a lot of water here on the south side of the map. And I was trying to zoom in and out and see if there's going to be something there on the south side. You can kind of see my webcam is blocking it, but there seems to be some topography here. Like the water is shallow in some of these areas, and there's a building right here. So I'm not sure if there's going to be any kind of area that you can play over here, if this is just going to be purely water out in the open. It will be interesting to see. And then another thing here is this area on the backside of the map is unplayable. We're going to get to this island in a second, but this area here is a little bit darker. So I don't know what's going on with that side of the map, and if there's going to be anything here or what that is. Not really sure. But then I guess we're skipping ahead here a little bit. But there is this little section of the map here, and this area is completely unplayable. So right now it seems to be the consensus is that this is going to be how the revive mechanic is involved in the game, potentially some kind of gulag system like we saw in Call of Duty, which is interesting because PUBG was testing a revive system in PUBG Labs, where as long as your team was alive, you could kind of come back into the game. So a lot of people were thinking that maybe you could come back into the game phase one if your team was still alive and you died, you have one opportunity to kind of come back if you meet some requirements. But it seems like PUBG is going to be doing a thing where if, say, you die off the bat, the rest of your squad is up, maybe a plane will go over at a certain time, maybe at the end of phase one, who knows? All of the people that died off the bat or got thirsted will land on this island, and it is a perfect circle. So who knows if it's going to close? The circle is going to close and the last survivor comes back. If multiple people are coming back, I mean, we really don't know yet, but the rumor is, and this is also coming from some players who allegedly played the map in Korea, because there was a play test, I guess, for people that were in Korea, that this is a gulag system. But again, we just have to wait and find out how it's exactly going to work. But again, I think this is a really cool feature coming to PUBG. It's only going to be this map. A lot of people, this is a hot topic in the PUBG community. We have to remember it's only this map. We're testing it out, or they're testing it out. And I think at this point, it's worth that PUBG tries anything that's reasonable to excite the community, to excite people that don't play PUBG, to bring them in and really try to get back to the battlegrounds and make PUBG great again, for lack of a better phrase. So I'm definitely excited to see how that works. And then looking at the map at a whole again, we'll zoom in a little bit. We're seeing some fields kind of like the Gaka fields here, which I really like. We're seeing this seems to be some kind of mountain here on the top side of the main island. And when I saw this, it kind of reminded me of an airstrip that I've seen on sometimes some mountains in the US will kind of have flatten out here and there'll be like an airstrip on top. There's actually one of these in Arizona. So I don't know if this is just kind of a base up there, or maybe there's a glider up there. I would really like to see something like that. Some kind of glider, like airport strip. I don't really see any other place that's like that. Oftentimes the gliders spawn on the outside of the map, but that's something that I was thinking about. And then also here, just some little things. We see some marsh area, which they have on Erangel as well, but that ends up to be, to me, one of the areas that I play the least or go to the least. And really, it seems like nobody goes there. So I wonder how this will kind of play out, if there's any kind of reason that people would want to be here, for example. There's a couple compounds that look a little square. So I mentioned this one that my webcam's almost blocking. And then there's another one here that seems to be square right by the plane. So who knows if this is going to be some kind of structure, like a hospital, like a school, something like that, which is always a really fun dynamic to play in. We mentioned the biggest city here. We have that. And definitely some big cities here, structures here and here. And then I also want to know what's going on the right side of the map. We have a very spread out structure. This almost seems to be like, I'm not really sure. I was going to say it kind of reminds me of the area south of Gaka, but it seems like this could be a more complex structure. So I don't really want to elaborate on that without having really no information. And then let's zoom back out. South side of the map. Looks like there could be some warehouses here. This is interesting. Definitely want to check that out. And then we have some beaches up top. Again, just looking at that. And then this seems to be something. So let's zoom in. Again, like that could just be water, but then you zoom out. Hard to say. Is that water or is that some kind of structure? It almost disappears. Yeah, I think it's just the water. I guess there's just an interesting, part of the water at that part. And it really changes as you zoom in and out. So we got a couple notes here. I just want to make sure we covered all of the main stuff. I actually forgot to mention this island here. It's hard to say if there's a bridge or any kind of structure connecting the island. It almost seems like there's something here, but there's this grid line that might be deceiving me. When you zoom in, doesn't seem to be any compound or any kind of bridge there. And then when we zoom out, again, we're not seeing anything that lights up that island. So I'm not sure what kind of role that's going to play. Maybe just a place that people can hide, or who knows if the circle can go there, or maybe there's something underground. And that brings me to, I wonder if there's going to be any underground elements here, like the shelters we see on Erangel, or kind of like on Karkin, that we just can't see from the sky. But again, we're just gonna have to wait until the map comes out until we find out. So when you get to the end of the trailer here, we have a few things. We have a picture of a bunch of crates coming down, which I don't really know what that symbolizes. As we zoom out a little bit more, Similar thing here, multiple crates coming down, and we have a mountain in the background. Then we have image of some compounds, but it's really hard to make it out. So a lot of small buildings that are kind of close together. This I first looked at, I thought maybe it was a track, but I don't think that's what it is. But we have some kind of circular structure here. And we have a player that is hard to make out with a weapon. Hard to say what weapon that is. And then as we zoom out even further here, we get an idea of what a building might look like. There's some kind of tiling going on here, maybe like brick. And then we have this gray building with the roof. So you can see this is what we might be looking at when we drop into the map. And then another thing here is as this sheet rips off, codename Tiger, we have a player with level 3 helmet, a player behind him or character behind him, a player IGN, shout out to him, is saying that this might be a K2, which is a 5.56 Korean weapon that could be featured on this map. And I'm guessing this might be someone that's going to be featured in the lore, PUBG universe lore. And then we have this building, which almost looks like a prison or a power station. So this could be something kind of reminding me of the Gulag that's featured in the Gulag, or maybe this is something that's going to be somewhere else on the map. But this almost kind of has a spooky vibe to it. And I think we're going to see this come into play because it's featured in that flyer. And it's something that after watching a couple times, I didn't even notice at first because there's just so many things we're looking at. And now I'm even looking at this fly through. I mean, there's just so many things that you can kind of notice here. But right now we have the respawn mechanic, new weapon, which is really exciting, potential Gulag island, I guess, or area. And this is absolutely crazy. So I'm super excited for this. If we go to the end, it's dropping on PC on July 7th and on console on July 15th, which is just a month from now for console players. And then normally on PC, they do a test server a week before. So we might be able to test this the beginning of July, end of June on PC. And if that is the case, I will definitely be doing so. I'll be trying it out on either YouTube or on Twitch, twitch.tv/Blitz5 and friends. And again, definitely want to hear what you guys think down in the comments below. Hopefully it's positive stuff at this point. If you're not liking what PUBG's doing, then it may not be the game for you, but I'm super excited to see what they're going to do. And I love that they're getting back to the basics. We're getting loot increase, and we're going to see PUBG kind of 2.0, whether it's an actual 2.0 or the next generation of the game starting now, I think. And I'm excited to see where that goes. So as always, thank you all for watching. I'm Blitz5 and peace out.